Everybody, I see there's one person that is on hold for public participation in the meeting. So when we get to that part, I will unmute you one by one. And I thank you for coming. I know there's a bunch more that are watching out there, so thanks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Honored to be here as your superintendent of schools, Art Benedetto, my very able assistant, Mr. Joe Piccirillo. We're here to announce that we are going to reopen school on Monday, January 11th. Obviously, some people are saying, why would we reopen at this particular time? I will give some medical reasons, but please understand, medicine is not my field, education is. We have studied all the data that has been made available to us by an excellent Board of Health. The activity level, which is designated by color, and which before the Christmas break was promised to get to red, where it was last year, which is the most dysfunctional category, that did not occur. In fact, if we approached it, and the numbers, they're not great, but they have lessened, but we are still in an orange phase. Last year we were closed in a red phase. The infection rate of the virus has dropped to less than 1%. Now it's right at 0.99, one day it's 1.02, one day it's 0.99. But what that means is, if I get a virus, there's a chance that I will infect one other person and no more. Now, obviously, there are exceptions both ways, but that infection rate is seen as a key number. Third item we looked at has to do with the percent of population. I've been told Hopatcong has the third highest number of cases in the county, and that is true. But we are also the third largest community in the county. So I looked at some of the local towns with populations similar. Vernon is the largest township. They have 24,000 people with 800 plus cases, approximately 3.3%. Sparta is the second, has 18,000 plus people, 786 cases, 4.3%. The percentage is the number of cases compared to the population. Hopatcong has 15,888 with 645 cases, percentage of just less than 0.4. So as you look at the number of cases in towns compared to populations, there's a very strong consistency. Hopatcong is in very good shape when you compare us to other towns. Another factor, and I salute our neighboring districts who have been in session for some time. So our Lenape Valley, Byram and Stanhope have been in session and continue to be. And I feel that, as I said, I salute them. I believe that a large majority of Sussex County districts will be starting up on the 11th. Others will wait another week. As I said, I'm not a medical person, I'm an educator. And in my heart, I know that virtual instruction is a beautiful thing for some children and some students.
And some age levels.
Especially your better students. But I also know in my heart that your challenged children are not thriving on virtual instruction. So I've received a comment already saying, why would you reopen school just for a few kids? It's not just for a few kids. About 27% of our students are classified with learning situations that are challenged. About 24%, 25% of our children are learning English because they come from another country. 30% of our population are on free and reduced lunch, which means they are socioeconomically challenged. I am not talking about a few kids. I'm talking about a lot of kids who are struggling, not to mention their working parents who sometimes have to give up their jobs or who have to leave the child in the care of a grandparent, and that is not easy, leaving a child in the hands of a grandparent for 4 hours a day. So as an educator, I believe kids should be in school, and at this point in time, after being very cautious in the past, where I said I don't want to be responsible for an outbreak, God forbid a death, but at this point in time, the needs of our children overcome my worry of the virus.
And I think it's important that when Art shares this, and for the people at home, realize he's speaking very loud because we're in a big room. Okay, so
I'm speaking loud because I'm very passionate about what I am saying.
And that as well. I think it's important to remember that even still, we're talking about bringing students back, but no one is forcing a student to come back. Put in another way, you will have the choice to either send your child to school or have them continue virtual learning. So if you were one of the people that said, virtual learning is working for me, well, that's really great. And I'm so really happy to hear that, because not only is that a testament to the great work a lot of the teachers are doing to make that possible, but you have the option to stay home if that's a worry for you and your family. And I don't make the decisions for your family. I'm just trying to work with Mr. D to empower everyone to make the choice that they want to make. So I just want to be fair in that when Mr. D says students need to be back in school, if you feel that your child should not be, that's fine.
So going back to my barrage of words with regard to children and importance in school, I haven't even mentioned, or I did mention a little, the frustration that results from families at home trying to cope with childcare, with assisting in instruction. And we're talking about younger kids, of course, for our special kids. The challenge is immense. Think of a child who gets occupational therapy or speech therapy, getting it virtually. Well, if you observe physical therapy and occupational therapy, and sometimes even speech therapy, it's significantly hands-on. You can't do hands-on virtually. It is not a surprise that domestic violence numbers are up during a pandemic. That is another result of that frustration that families go through. So we're trying to come to an understanding as to reopening. I said to Joseph, I need a survey to ascertain, A, what parents are interested in sending their children back to school every day, B, what parents would choose an A-B option, and C, which ones would choose a strictly virtual option, which we greatly respect. It took Joe at least 11 minutes to come up with a survey and be able to break down the data. And I'm going to turn it over to Joe now because he's going to give you, there's some interesting stuff here. I don't want to give away the good stuff, but there is directly proportional outcomes from younger kids to older kids and coming back to school full time. It's pretty beautiful. Joe, continue.
I have this cool pen, many different colors, and you can highlight things. It's so cool. Anyway, so we did submit this survey out to the families, and I was really happy at the response because in only a few days, we received nearly 1,100 students responding. Now, that's over 700 families, about 730 families and 1,100 students. That's an incredible response of a district that has about 1,500 students to have nearly 1,100 responding. So some of the data, I'll give you the big picture and then I'll try to nail it down a little more at the granular level. So from a district perspective, you had about 55% wanting in-person only, about 25% virtual only, and then the remaining just about 20% looking for an A-B type hybrid. But what's interesting is when you look at it by building, our youngest building, Durbin Avenue, has over 3/4 looking for in-person only. They're looking for just around 17% virtual only, and then a small couple of ABs, and I think Ms. McFadden already spoke to them and they said, oh, we didn't mean AB, we wanted to be, so really you're looking near 80% of that building wants their kid to be there. When you look at Tulsa, you're looking about 70% is looking for in-person only, right around 18% virtual only. The middle school, about 53% in-person only and 25% virtual only. In the high school, about 37% in-person only and 30% virtual only. So you can see those numbers if you look just at the in-person. Durbin, 78%, Tulsa, 70, middle school, 53, high school, 37. So you can see it completely aligns with what we were speaking about in terms of need. As a parent of a special needs kindergartner, I can tell you, watching him do OT, PT, speech, and learning his letters and doing his penmanship, it's very interesting. Interesting, I think, euphemistically puts it well, right? I think our parents realize this, and then there is the practical consideration that, yes, a Durbin Avenue child can't be home alone doing online instruction. Either going to Tulsa Trail child, and you can see kind of where that ends in the middle school where a parent feels more comfortable, and I think that correlates very closely as well.
Thanks. Let me speak about our teaching staff. We've had a heck of a number of these meetings, single issue meetings about closing, reopening, opening, closing, reopening. And at every meeting I have continued to say that our teaching staff has done an outstanding job given the circumstances they are faced with. When I spoke to kindergarten and first grade teachers and their principal, there was a significant yearning that we get kids back there full time. They were the first ones to come back. When I speak of high school teachers, I understand there's some worrisome circumstances because of the age of the kids. But none of those teachers understand right until tonight that we're talking about 37% of them coming back. And the fear there is understood. Older kids, teenage kids, haven't exactly been champions of social distancing and mask wearing and gatherings, and they are going to get ill if they're not careful. But the number, I believe, will make that high school faculty more comfortable.
And I think also to be really fair about this, when we were in school, we did not have a problem with mask wearing. We really, really did not. I know that was discussed maybe in the summer of potential concerns of that, but it was not a problem in school. The issues that we're having, frankly, with high schoolers getting COVID are at parties outside of school since we've been out on virtual instruction. And that's, if that sounds harsh, I'm sorry, but I believe that we in the schools do a really good job of keeping students following protocols. We all wear masks all day long. So the last piece I'll mention is the plexiglass that's in those younger student schools that surrounds their desk. Because I think if you're going to say, look at the low numbers in the high school, they'll be able to social distance. Yes, that's true. But don't think that with the younger students, they will not be safe. They will not be safe. There's a double negative in there. Don't think that they're in any danger because they will have that plexiglass there, which is what they had prior to November.
That went up to 4th and 5th. They haven't seen that yet.
Thank you. Yeah.
We were going to open school to 4th and 5th graders next, and then we got to close. But I believe the district has done what it can do, looking at the ages of kids to try to maintain as much safety as possible. Custodial staff, you walk around the building, you walk in that locker room there, it says the locker room is closed off, there's no ventilation, it's sealed. When it's used again, it'll be cleaned every night. But in order to concentrate on the areas of the building that have been used, we've shut down parts of the building. So I salute the custodians, I salute the teachers, and I salute the parents who've been very patient. Is this going to be easy? No. There are significant caveats of challenge. A, if there's an outbreak of a significant one, I will close school again. B, if I am faced with dishonesty, I will close school again. And when I say dishonesty, that is a hard word. I have begged parents to be upfront with us. If you travel, you must quarantine for 10 days. If you're positive, and Joe's going to go over all the details on that, it's all on the website. Our nurses who have kicked butt in this time today revised the website so that everybody is understanding as to what we're doing, when we're doing it, and how we're doing it. But I need people to be honest. If you have a child who's ill, you have to keep the kid home. God forbid, one kid rides the bus, goes to class, 3rd grade, tests positive, that entire bus, that entire classroom is quarantined. We need help. This is not going to happen by accident. It's going to happen if everyone respects the expectations. One situation can literally quarantine 50 children, including any adult who's exposed. If we get cooperation from our clientele, we will be in good shape. If we have a challenge at one school, I will move that one school to virtual and keep the other schools in session. My hope, and hope is a big thing for me, I got a big old tattoo on my arm that says hope. We need your help and cooperation. We need to think positive. We understand if you don't want to send your child, you have the option to keep that child home and be educated to the best of our ability. But I need to see kids socializing. I need to see kids' heads nodding when the big idea and the big picture reaches their brain and the teacher is being successful. I need to see a little kid who's handicapped put a smile on his or her face when a speech therapist has a breakthrough. And that's not going to happen unless we come back to school. Joe, would you be kind enough to go over efficiently the website updates, and then we'll answer any questions that have been presented to us?
I think your comment presupposes that I'm not always efficient. I don't know. So the website, many of you are familiar with it. If you haven't seen it, go onto our main website, which is just the Hopatcong main website you've been on many times. And right on that main page, there'll be a big red border across the top. On there are three things: a link to a form that is for students to look at each day with their parents, depending on their age, to ascertain whether they have symptoms of COVID. The other is for staff members to look at each day to ascertain whether they have symptoms of COVID. This should be on your refrigerator. This should be a normal thing you do, routine, every day, to ensure the safety of all of us. One main difference that you'll see that's changed, and Mr. D mentioned it in passing just a second ago, is the change from 14-day quarantines to 10-day quarantines when you come from out of state. That was a recent change. And some people may think that's odd that it would be less, but truthfully, many states are in just as bad shape as New Jersey, and hopefully there's more compliance for making it 10 rather than 14. I think that's part of the thinking as well. But that doesn't come from us, that comes from recommendations that we get from health officials. So we did take that recommendation. I want you to know that many of the things that we have on that website are recommendations that come from the Department of Health or the CDC or the governor himself, or are even more in the interest of caution than those that were given to us. So there are things that we have that are even more stringent. So I don't want you to think that we are going about this in a non-cautious way. And I mentioned to the HEA leadership when we spoke to them yesterday that a lot of times we make decisions related to this and it comes across, people twist it into these political things. When we closed, we were accused of being these bleeding heart liberals, then I'm sure I got messages already that we are these staunch conservatives. The truth is, we're not politicians, we're educators. We try to do the right thing, we try to look at the data, we don't look at this as politics, we look at this as the best interest of kids, and every day we look at the situation that's in front of us. So when you go to this website, you'll see that there were some changes that were made. Every time I make a change, I show you when it was last edited. It's the very top of the road back, which is that third link on that red banner. The road back website goes through all the protocols of our district and then goes down at the granular level by building. I welcome you to go there. You'll see when it was last edited, and it's all up to date as of today.
Are there any changes you want to highlight, Joe?
The main change is that change from 14 to 10. That is the main change. We're still in orange, we're not in red, as Mr. D mentioned.
Has anyone sent us any questions, sir?
Let's look. What do we got? I am looking in two different ways. I have people that are calling here. I have people that are emailing me. And so I got a couple devices. I am not texting my wife. Okay.
Joe is multitasking, which is impossible for me.
Okay, you addressed this, I believe, but I'll just mention it. Why are we reopening for a few kids that are having difficulties online?
I believe I answered that.
I believe you did as well. If there are any here coming through, I think we have a tiny little bit of delay through the live stream, so we'll give it just a few more seconds. Okay, there are questions about staff members and the concern of the staff members' health, because it was mentioned we talked a lot about kids' health.
Right.
Any comments on staff members?
Staff members are aware that if they have a medical need related to the virus or exposure or at risk, they come to my office with union representation and we work out accommodations. Currently, there are about 20 staff members on various forms of accommodations. Some are teaching from home, have been doing that all year. Others are more isolated in the schools. We've had no problems with that. I'm very thankful that the association has helped me greatly with accommodating circumstances.
Someone is asking about, I think they're, okay. Part of this question was already answered regarding we really are relying on people to be honest. That's number one. Number two, though, to the extent that we're going to try to find out who's lying to us, I mean, we're not going to be. Yeah, go ahead.
We're not investigating who's lying. It becomes obvious. We find out sometimes through accident, sometimes through social media. It's not brain surgery. If people have traveled, and I'm not
a question.
That, than people who've been exposed, of course, but we tend to find out our nurses are not only really good nurses, they're like, they constantly interact with people who tell them things. So you may think you're putting one over on us, and your neighbor may be friends with our nurse because her kid gets treated by the nurse, and we find out about it. We're not looking, we're not searching, we're not investigating, and we're not going to do anything if you don't tell us the truth.
We have a caller here and phone number ending in 42. Would you like to speak?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. As educated people, do you really believe that our children shouldn't all be in school? And do you really think those masks are helping you guys right now?
No, I don't believe all kids should be in school. I believe kids whose parents believe they should be in school should be in school. I greatly respect the people who've made the decision to remain virtual.
That's fine. I understand that. So you're saying we should eliminate the NJEDA and get private teachers for kids who actually want to be taught and be socialized with other children.
So what you've said to me, I'm not sure I understand exactly what you're saying, so I have to ask you to repeat it.
If we have to go virtual,
right,
for some children, and other children don't want to go virtual, or their parents want them to actually socialize with other children,
right,
you guys probably aren't really necessary.
That could be the case down the road. You may find that public schools have many less kids.
Not public.
Virtual instruction is
all going private then. You guys are really abusing our children right now. You know this does not affect them. And you know those masks are not helping you at all, are they?
The what's not helping?
Masks are not helping us at all.
Help anybody.
No, that goes against the research.
The research of who?
Of
Dictator Murphy?
All right, I think I can't keep the call going if it's going to be.
Why? Because you don't want to answer real questions?
No, I'd love to answer.
You're talking political, and we're talking common sense. And the
no, it is common sense. Common sense is the mask do not do anything.
Quite important. Thank you.
Excuse me?
Next. We have a question in the back.
You have a
question in the back.
No, it is.
Thank you.
You got my number?
I have a question.
You got my number?
Go ahead.
Even though the parents have to take temperatures of the child at home, is there a way that the nurse at the school could also take the temperatures of the child? Because some parents may not be taking the temperatures. Is there a way?
Yeah, I will answer your question in a second. Give me one second.
Okay. May not be taking the temperature.
The masks and the dividers, especially with the younger kids, the dividers are important. But there are, for example, at kindergarten, kids have masks, they have the dividers. They're not socially distanced, but it's not practical in the classroom itself.
Mr. D, if Melissa wanted to know how many kids would be coming back to that class before she made a decision, she could decide, right?
Yes. Your decisions are not cast in concrete. So if you pick A and B instruction, and you find out that your child's class has a number of kids that you think that might be appropriate for them to attend, you can certainly change your mind. We may ask that give us a week or so, but nothing is cast in concrete.
There's a question about temperature checks.
We don't do temperature checks.
And symptom checks of students that come in to ensure that they're checking for screening. We're really relying on parents to do that.
Yeah, the temperature checks essentially are accurate. Let me put it this way. Accurate temperature checks are not going to happen when you have 300 kids walking into a building. Just not going to happen. And the research on that pretty much supports that statement. Yes.
If a teacher has
Stand up for our children.
the day
Stand up for our children.
to a classroom and have
Stand.
or how does that work?
If the teacher is out,
Stand up for our children.
we will either have a sub or, depending on the age of the kids, at the high school.
Why am I not allowed to be heard?
Rooms where one sub can handle 2 or 3 classes. At the younger grades, we'll try to have somebody in there as a sub. We're asking the teachers to put forth sub plans that are more independent than usual if it was a live circumstance. But I am worried about substitutes yet. I don't know what. No, the principals have to teach, or the superintendent has to teach. We'll do it.
I have a call here from ending in 7. Can you ask your question, please? Phone number ending in 7.
Yes, I was just wondering, so with the return to school, are the 4th and 5th graders going to be returning for both weeks, or is it going to go back to the A-B week schedule?
They can come every day or A and B, whatever the parents choose. 4th and 5th graders can come every day, or by parent choice, A or B, or they can choose all versions. Same as every other.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
4-hour day still. Thank you.
Okay, I have one here. This is a number ending in 30. The number ending in 30, you are on the line. Oh, we lost it. All right. I think that's all the calls we have here. Are there any other questions? Oh, here's one more.
We got one from the back.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I can't.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First things first, you guys are doing
This is a lot, not a job.
we have a teacher in another district. You guys are guys. So thank you for what is apparently really hard work and.
Thank you.
We have to have a plan to going back to regular school. Is there a certain about people in the town who have been vaccinated, so on and so forth. Is there anything looking forward when passes?
When the color ratings go one load down, then we will consider returning to school full-time. And, that would mean I'm showing you something you can't see, but it would mean a yellow rating instead of an orange rating. At that time, we will plan on coming back. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
One more, you said?
I have a couple emails here. And maybe one of the administrators in the back will correct me. On January 11th, for the A and B week, is it an A or B week?
It's a B week.
It's a B week. Okay, so the answer is,
That'll be in the announcement tomorrow.
the answer is B week. Okay, and we traveled out of state, can't come back to school till Wednesday, January 13th. How do we let our kids' teachers know? And what's the process for reporting that?
You should call into the schools as if the child was absent, but you will be able to do virtual instruction.
You have to call them in every day, or just?
We have a couple of problems. One problem we have, mainly with the older kids, is they choose to come in, but they didn't like to get out of bed that morning, especially when it's cold, and they say we're going virtual, but they don't call us.
I just need in this case.
In this case, we need a call to the office, just like you would if there was God forbid the kid was ill or something. The more information we have, it's very difficult for our staff members, especially our nurses, to follow up calls that don't come in. So that would be very helpful. Yes? She learned it.
Just a question, I couldn't find on the website. If someone in the household travels to a state that the child does not, and isolation is not possible for that person during their quarantine, does that affect the child's status of coming to school?
No.
You have to say the question one more time because I want to make sure I get it right.
The adult traveled,
My
the kid
husband's
did.
going to Maryland, and he will return. And if he can't be isolated from the children, does that affect my children?
And he has no symptoms. He
If he has
can't,
no symptoms, until he develops symptoms.
right,
then
so he
that's
doesn't
different.
quarantine.
No. Wear your jacket though, it's cold.
It is. Somebody asked about the numbers in the middle school. I'll say it again. It was in-person 53% for middle school. There's 21% that want A/B. So that means on any given day, 53 plus 21, I'm good at math. You have that percent, approximately 75%, really it's 3/4 of the building will be there any given day, right? But that is half.
Only half the AP kids.
Yeah, half of that AB, so it's what, 2/3? Okay, 2/3 any given day, so that 25% cut in half. And can we still switch at any time if we want to switch from virtual to, yes, the answer is yes.
Gotta give us a week though to get going. We had people fill the survey out yesterday, who called today, wanted to change their minds. God bless them. We'll accept that until tomorrow morning, but after that, it's cast in concrete for at least a week.
Alphabest is
Alphabet
still
is
going?
on. Daycare, before care, after care.
Okay, and again, the message is, you had 3 choices. You could go virtual only, you could go in-person only, or you can do the A/B alternating virtual in-person hybrid. All 3 options that are in the survey are all available to you. No option is not on the table. So I think we've perhaps confused people, or some of the dialogue has confused people. All 3 options are available to you at any time. We just want to know which option you're taking. Okay. Want to take this last call here?
Last call.
Last call.
Last call.
Oh, we got a call right here, and then we'll do that question in the back. So this is from number ending in 21. Number ending in 21, you are our last caller here.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I can't hear them, so. Okay, last call in the back.
The survey was more about resource allocation and how to get those three different programs running rather than everybody making choices like they want to do.
So, no, we were trying to ascertain what we were working with. It's always good to know what the public is looking for, but then you're right, there are really twofold. We have to make sure that we can accommodate this. We need to make sure we can accommodate it safely. The numbers play out that I think we can do it safely, given the fact that we have already done those numbers at the lower levels, and that we can really do more distancing at the upper levels. So it's a kind of multifaceted answer, yes. Right.
God bless you all. Thank you very much.